In this video, I introduced the mathematically simplest machine learning model I could think of, a regression line that we fit to data points one by one, single point by single point. This simple model will later enable us to derive the simplest possible partial derivatives for calculating a machine learning gradient. The machine learning foundations pieces really start coming together now. Let's dig right into it. Recalling the four-step machine learning loop that we have referred back to time and again in this machine learning foundation series, we have the forward pass, where in the case of our simple linear regression model, we have some input values x, some model parameters representing m, the slope of the regression line, and b, the y-intercept of the regression line. And as a result of this forward pass, m times x plus b, we get y hat, our model's estimate of the output that we're trying to learn with our machine learning model, that we're trying to model with our machine learning model. In step 2, we take those y hat values, those estimates of what the output from the model should be, and we compare them with the true y values. And we calculate a quantification of how wrong we are at this particular point in time. And we call that cost. In step 3, we take that cost and we use partial derivatives and the chain rule to calculate the gradient of cost with respect to our model parameters m and b. And then in step 4, we adjust m and b in order to reduce our cost. So that third step, up until now in the Machine Learning Foundation series, we've been relying on automatic differentiation in the PyTorch library specifically in order to perform that partial derivative calculus for us behind the scenes. For the first time, we're now equipped with enough partial derivative knowledge ourselves to calculate the gradient, the partial derivatives of cost with respect to our model parameters by hand ourselves. So that's going to be the focus of the next couple videos. And the step 4 is where we're going to descend the gradient of cost. So in this step 3, previously relying on automatic differentiation, pretty soon in this series, we're going to be able to derive this gradient by hand. And the gradient looks something like this. So for any given model parameter, so in our very simple line regression, we only have two parameters, m and b. So we could call either of those parameters p. And so here is an example of a cost versus parameter curve. And at any given point in time, based on the model parameters that we have and the data that we have, we calculate this gradient, this slope of cost with respect to our model parameter, this slope here, and we, in step 4, based on that gradient that we calculated in step 3, we descend the gradient. So in this case here, we can see that there's a positive relationship between our model parameter and cost. And so this means that if we adjust our parameter down slightly, if we take a step downward, if we descend the gradient, then our cost will decrease as well. And we loop through the 4 steps that I had on the last slide as many times as we need, calculating the gradient in step 3 at each of those points. And then in step 4, taking a single step in the direction of lower cost until eventually we find our way to a place where the slope, the gradient of cost with respect to the model parameter, is 0 or very close to 0. And very often, under a lot of common circumstances, that will mean that we found our way to this global minimum of cost for that particular model parameter. Okay, so there's a quick review of our machine learning process. And it's this step right here, step 3, that we're most interested in right now. We're going to use partial derivative calculus to calculate the gradient so that then gradient descent can proceed effectively. In order to bring this to life, we're going to jump into a hands-on code demo to work with some real numbers. And that notebook is my single point regression gradient notebook. So if you've been following along with all of these Machine Learning Foundations videos in order, then in the notebook that we've most recently been working through, the subject for Calculus 2 Jupyter notebook, we last reached the end of this section on partial derivatives of a cylinder's volume, and we're now in this gradients of cost with respect to model parameters section. So all that's here in this section is links to other standalone notebooks. So you could access the single point regression gradient notebook here by clicking on this link. Or if you haven't been following along video by video, then probably the easiest way is to go to the GitHub repository for this Machine Learning Foundation series at github.com/Jon Krohn/ML Foundations. Make your way into the notebooks directory and find the single point regression gradient notebook. Either way, open up that notebook, and when it first opens, you'll be seeing all of the notebook output statically in GitHub. You are welcome, as with all of the notebooks in this Machine Learning Foundation series, to simply look at the executed code. All of the code is complete and executed in this notebook. However, my recommendation is to follow along interactively in Colab. So you can do that by clicking on this Open in Colab button, and that will bring you to the executable version of the notebook. As always, in this Machine Learning Foundation series, I recommend going to Edit and clear all outputs before we get started. That way, all of the outputs that we had in the nice static version are no longer output, and we can create them from scratch ourselves through executing the code. Okay, so in this notebook, we are going to calculate the gradient of quadratic cost. So this is a cost function that we haven't been working with yet in the Machine Learning Foundation series, but I'll explain all about it shortly. So we're going to calculate the gradient of quadratic cost with respect to a simple straight line regression model's parameters. And this will keep the partial derivatives as simple as possible by limiting the model to handling a single data point at a time. All right, so the key library that we need here is the PyTorch library. So let's load that. And we're going to use the same data as we did in the regression in PyTorch notebook, as well as the same data that we had for the Moore-Penrose pseudo-inverse way back now in the Subject to Linear Algebra 2 notebook. So I'm not going to explain a huge amount of detail about those data, except to say that they are contrived. So I made them up. So we have these 8 input values from 0 to 7, and these are supposed to represent the number of milliliters of a drug for treating Alzheimer's. And the outcome is how forgetful our patient is when we administer that Alzheimer's drug. So you can see here clearly by just looking at the data, these completely made up data points, that as the dosage of the Alzheimer's drug goes up, the forgetfulness of our patient goes down. Nice. So we're going to need to define our computational graph, which is very simple. It's just the slope of a line. So y equals mx plus b. So our outcome y is determined by m times x plus b. And that's all there is to it, to our computational graph. We will initialize our model parameters, m and b, with the same random, quote unquote, near zero values as we did in the regression in PyTorch notebook for the same reasons that we did back there. So I'm not going to recapitulate all of those reasons. You know, in a lot of real world examples, you would use a random number generator to get your near zero values for your model parameters. In this case, I'm specifying specific model parameters so that every time we run this notebook, as well as when you run this notebook or I run this notebook, we get exactly the same numbers as we work through. That said, you're welcome to change these values. Maybe after having gone through this notebook once with me, changing these values and seeing how, as long as you pick near zero values, your model will still converge on a line that fits nicely to the data. Okay, so as I mentioned at the top of the notebook, in order to keep the partial derivatives that we're going to derive by hand ourselves in order to calculate the gradient, in order to keep those partial derivatives as simple as possible, let's move forward in this notebook with a single instance I from the 8 possible data points. So, you can change which instance you want to work with. I'm arbitrarily picking the last one, so the 8th of the 8 data points because Python is 0 index, so I is the 8th and final data point. And then we are going to grab that 8th data point from our vector of x's. So we have this vector of inputs called x's, this vector of outputs called y's, and here we grab the 8th and final x value and the 8th and final y value, which are scalar tensors of 7 and negative 1.37, 7 and negative 1.37, respectively. All right, now we're going to go through our 4-step machine learning process. Let's quickly jump back to the slides to recall that process. So step 1 is the forward pass, where we pass our inputs and our model parameters into our graph of our model to calculate an estimate of y hat. So here is that step right here. We flow our scalar tensor x through our regression model to produce y hat, an estimate of y. Prior to any model training, this is a pretty arbitrary estimate. So in earlier notebooks, like the Regression and PyTorch notebook, we've looked at graphs, and you could see how far off our line was to the data points that we're trying to fit. We're not going to recreate those graphs here. We've done that many times already. But the point is that the initial y hat value we're getting for that data point, our estimate of what the data point should be with our randomly initialized model parameters, comes out to 6.4. And that isn't anywhere near the value that we should be getting of negative 1.4. So in step 2, we compare our estimated y hat value with the true y value to calculate our cost C, to quantify it specifically. So that's this step here. And previously, in the Regression and PyTorch notebook, we used mean squared error. And that mean squared error was useful when we had many data points, more than one. And what that mean squared error does is it averages the quadratic cost that we're going to be working with now over multiple data points. So when we have just a single data point, we don't need to be doing that averaging. We can use the quadratic cost on its own. So the quadratic cost is defined by this function here. We take y hat minus y. It actually doesn't matter if you do y hat minus y or y minus y hat. The math will come out the same. So you subtract from, say, your model estimate y hat, the true value y, and then you square it. And we talked about this earlier with respect to mean squared error, but just a quick reminder that we do this squaring for 2 reasons. The first reason is that it means that cost is always positive. And the second reason is that it means that larger differences between y hat and y are associated with exponentially increasing cost. So because of this square. All right, so having this quadratic cost function in mind, let's encode it in Python code. So here's my squared error function. It's simply y hat minus y squared. Y hat minus y squared. Simple enough. And we can now use this squared error function to throw in our real y hat 6.4 value and our real y value, which is negative 1.4. And we put both of those in to our squared error method, and we get back a cost of 60. So previously, in all of the examples that we've been using this machine learning loop so far, when we calculated our cost, we would use automatic differentiation to calculate the gradient of cost with respect to our model parameters. And so in PyTorch, for example, that's very easy by simply calling the backward method on our cost object. And that shows us, okay, here's the partial derivative of cost with respect to m, what we now know is also called del C del m. So that partial derivative comes out to about 109. And the partial derivative of cost C with respect to our y-intercept of the model B, which we also now know is called del C del B, comes out to about 15.5. Okay, so this automatic differentiation approach is handy. It definitely makes calculating gradients fast and easy. However, it doesn't show us how this works. It doesn't let us know how gradients are calculated. So in the next video, we are going to derive by hand del C del M and del C del B so that we can calculate these numbers ourselves without having to rely on automatic differentiation. And this will show us how partial derivative calculus allows machine learning to operate, how it allows us to calculate gradients.